This is Sunny Whiteside Sportstake with Jeff Walker, live on air. We're on Facebook. We are on Zoom, and we have some sports powerful guests to chime in and give their sports opinions. I'm your host, Baruti Carl Alexander. Thank everybody here on Zoom and on Facebook for joining us, and we may have a couple of more guests coming in. First, I would like for our guests to introduce themselves. Please, Brother AJ, can you start with the introductions?
Say that again.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm AJ Whiteside, and I've been a member of the group, I guess, for about 2 years now. And of course, a lot of my friends here on this panel, we're PVA&M University Panthers, and that's where we first met and got together and kind of just keeping it going and love sports. And like most of the Houston teams, that's just a joke for Silas. I'm gonna come clean here. I do follow the Astros. I do like them, but my heart, you know where that's at. So I'm gonna try not to bring up the Rangers on this live feed, but you know, just like sports and stuff, you know. And Silas and I and the rest of the group, we usually agree on most of the things. Sometimes I call him Skip. You know what's going on, Skip? So most of the time I'm Shannon and he's Skip. But anyway, I'm AJ Whiteside, and of course I said I teach school, do some radio broadcasting on the side. I do high school football, play-by-play, color commentary, kind of involved in a whole lot of stuff.
Thank you, my brother. Brother Silas, can you go next with your introduction?
My name is Silas McMorris, one of the administrators here with Sunny Whiteside Sports Talk with Jeff Walker. I'm basically part of the three-headed leadership on this particular group on Facebook, along with my fellow Prairie View A&M classmates, Carl Alexander and Jeff Walker. Pretty much just helping these two guys out because they're pretty much the brains and the head of this organization. Former football player at Prairie View A&M University. Like AJ, I like sports also, baseball, basketball, football. And pretty much this group is about people who love sports, who love talking about sports. That's pretty much what we do here on sports, on Sunny Whiteside Sports Talk. That's pretty much it for me.
All right, I'll go next because I want to save the last introduction for our president. I'm Baruti Carl Alexander. As Silas said, and AJ said, we met at Prairie View. I graduated from TSU. I do have to say that. I do love sports. I'm more of a statistician. I keep up with statistics. You can ask me what college most basketball players went to. I can tell you. I have a real great love of track and field history, and I keep up with that a great deal, especially the 4x1, 4x4, open quarter. I love those sports, and I have a number of broadcasts, and this is one that I assist with, and I just enjoy it. And I want to turn it over to the president of Sunny Whiteside Sportstake, Jeff Walker.
Jeff Walker, JY line, graduate 80, Prairie View. That's where I met these gentlemen at Prairie View A&M University on that clay. Enjoyed my 4 years at Prairie View. Started my career with the Internal Revenue Service, Department of Treasury, 35-year career, retired 3 years ago. Illustrious career, successfully retired. Doing some tax consulting work right now and spending time with my brothers as president of Sunny Whiteside Sportstake with J.W. Waller, Mr. Jeff Walker right here. Enjoying my time, hanging out with my boys. Love sports, always love sports. To play it, but not on a high level. But always love sports. So this is a dream right now to be retired and enjoy myself with my brothers. So welcome to everyone. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. President Jeff. And we're going to get right into it. We're going to talk football. What do we think about that Super Bowl game? From my perspective, It was a great game, and it had a lot of historical parts to it. Of course, two Black quarterbacks, both from Texas, two Black young quarterbacks with a lot of future, and two great teams. And had it not been maybe for a couple of the penalty calls, it might have had a different outcome. But it came out like I thought it was going to come out at the end. Let's chime in. Silas, I know you got something to say about that football game.
Oh, man, look here, man. What I don't understand, Carl, Jeff, and AJ, is that all the hype was about Jalen Hurts before the Super Bowl. And true enough, this young man has shown tremendous character since he was at Alabama. If I was his father, I would be proud too. I mean, this young man has fought the odds. He fought being depression after being benched in the championship game and being replaced by another quarterback. Then next year he stayed on the bench. And then after that, when he had a year of eligibility left, he had the wherewithal to go to OU and then became the starting quarterback and then worked on his craft. And of course, we know he was drafted by Philadelphia, and many experts didn't give him a shot at even being in the NFL long as a starting quarterback. But this year, he proved all his doubters wrong. However, these people, too many people underestimated just how talented Patrick Mahomes is. This young guy is on pace to being one of the greatest quarterbacks that ever played in the game. There's absolutely nobody like him. And at the Super Bowl, he demonstrated why he's almost in a class by himself. Who would have thought that when he hurt his ankle again, that high sprained ankle, but I understand the high sprained ankle is a very painful injury. He came back in the second half. His team was down by 10 points, came back through for 2 touchdowns and helped lead his team to not only come back and take the lead, but to eventually win the ball game. And nothing was more heroic in that last drive that they did when he had to scramble almost to the 10-yard line.
That was the play of the game.
Towards the end of the game.
That was the play of the game.
He scrambled. And I mean, that right there, let you see just how great this guy, this young man is as far as his talent playing the position of quarterback. I know there was a lot of controversy about should that holding penalty have been called. My thing is, if a referee sees that he's got called, forget about, well, you can't call this at that time in the game. No, if it's a penalty, it's a penalty. You know, I mean, you don't bend the rules just because you want the game to be decided on the field. It's going to be decided on the field, but the opposing player tried to bend the rules. And when you break the rules, you got to pay the cost. So to me, I didn't have any issue with it. You know, you shouldn't have. That's my thing. Play the game right. If you play the game right, you may come out on the other side. But it was a tremendous game, man. I like the way the grit that Kansas City showed in coming back and winning this game. Like I said, it was hard for me to go against Patrick Mahomes, even though Jalen did real good this season, was in the MVP race and all that was good. But man, this guy, I'll tell you, this guy, everybody thought that Patrick Mahomes was going to take a step back when he lost his leader receiver, Tyreek Hill, one of the most electrifying wide receivers in the NFL. When he left to go to Miami for more money, they thought that Mahomes was going to take a back seat. But not only did he progress this year, but he also was voted the MVP for a second time in his career. So, man, I enjoyed it, man. I don't know about anybody else, but I enjoyed the game. It was a good game.
Sounds great. Let's get AJ's perspective.
Okay, I enjoyed the game also. Everything that my friend Silas had just mentioned there, I really agree with it. I mean, and I keep trying to find some way to say that I wish that the call was not made at that particular time. I was one of those at first. I kind of teeter-totted. I was on the fence. And he's right. Holding is holding. And that's definitely what it was. But sometimes I think they ought to have this making a sense, some type of I guess that'll open up another can of worms. So, did he really impede his route running? I don't think the ball would have been called anyway, but you have no way of knowing that. You may say, well, he overthrew him, just threw it away because he saw that his guy had been held. And I'm going to, play devil's advocate here. I understand there was no holding calls at all in this game. That was the only one. And I understand it was another one or two maybe in the first half that could have been called. It wasn't called either. So why call it at this moment? So I'm kind of playing. I guess I'm Skip Bayless on this one. But I mean, holding is holding. I do understand that. I was one of those who I wanted to see what Hurts would do, with down by 3 and about 2.5 minutes left to go.
Yep, it was a great game. Jeff, Mr. President, I just want to throw in, we acknowledge the career of Tom Brady, but it was time for him to go. Go ahead and chime in on the Super Bowl or anything related to football, Jeff.
Okay, great game. I enjoyed the Super Bowl. I enjoyed every second of that game. Both teams performed very well. They kept us on our toes. The advertisers they were extremely elated because no one wanted to see a 48-14 Super Bowl where the game is already over midway through the second quarter. The advertisers upset, everybody's upset. But a game like this, 38-35, oh man, it lived up to its billing. It was everything and more. And it was extremely enjoyable. Everyone was happy. So I enjoyed the game. And I think that the Eagles will be right back there in the Super Bowl next year. I think they're going to be right back there with the Bengals.
Agree. 100% agree.
I don't agree with that.
I think the Bengals are going to be there with them next year. That's my estimation. I think Jalen Hurts is going to get better. I think he's going to become a better passer. I think that it's going to get better. Yes.
I agree it's a chance for them to be back, but hey, football is football and anything can happen. One of them can get hurt. One of their offensive linemen can get hurt. They don't have as well of protection, and somebody could come in and stop one of them from throwing the ball, throw an interception, another team gets it. It's, as you know, Silas, you play football. It's a game of inches. It's a game of turnovers.
A lot of variables.
Yes.
You got a lot of X factors there.
I would not bet on them coming back, but I wouldn't bet against them either. But it was a great game. The Texans, guys, what are we going to do about the Texans? Now, I'll say this. From a political standpoint, for the community of Houston and the Black community, the Texans made a very good decision. I was surprised, but I was not surprised because they had lost the Black community here in Houston. And people around the country were starting to say the racist Texans just exploiting Black coaches and then getting rid of them. Let's chime in on that. Anybody, let's go.
Well, I love the hire of D'Amico Ryans, and I wouldn't want them to hire D'Amico Ryans just because he's Black. I'm not about that. I'm about winning. If the right coach for this team to get it back to winning ways is a white coach, then bring in that white coach. That's how I feel about that. So I'm not into that. But I do like the hire of D'Amico Ryans. I think that he's going to do an outstanding job. I think that there is a great deal of optimism around this organization now. I've had a chance to sit down with a few guys who used to play with the Texans, and there's a great deal of optimism around them. Guys like Andre Johnson and J.J. Watt, man, they're excited about D'Amico Ryans. And he's brought in some guys from some coaches from the San Francisco 49ers, So there's some familiarity there. I think that he's going to do an outstanding job. He's doing an outstanding job building his coaching staff. He's already got his defensive coordinator. He's already got his defensive backs coach. He's already got his offensive coordinator, his quarterbacks coach. I think that he's going to do an outstanding job. I think in year one, you got to take steps. I think in year one, he'll go 7-10. I think in year 10 and year 2, he'll go 10-7. And I think by year 3, he'll make it to 12-5. And I think the Texans will win their conference in year 3 at 12-5. That's why I feel. They have a lot of draft picks.
I like that.
They got a lot of draft picks coming to them. They got a lot of draft. Think about it. The Texans have 11 draft picks in this next draft, including 5 picks in the top 74 picks. That's unheard of. They have 5 picks in the top 74 picks. So they have to ensure that they draft the right players. Go ahead, AJ.
I was just thinking, I like exactly what you said, but I think they could probably win their conference in the second year.
Okay.
I really do. And I mean, I like the hire, and maybe my boy Silas don't want to sell the team now. So
yeah, he's stuck on that.
I know. I love it. I love that line though. And see, you still want to sell the team, but I like what they've done. You know, it's you wow. I like what they've done, and let's see what happens.
So, are they going to keep Davis Mills as quarterback?
No, sir. No, sir.
I would bring him back, but not as my starter.
No.
AJ, you against that too?
No.
You know what? I want to say this. You know, I was kind of on Mills' side a little bit because that's all they had. I mean, who else could you get? You know, you had somebody who could play it. He didn't want to be here, so I give him little props for playing. You know, I think if he had a little bit more protection, a little bit more play, you know, a little bit more players around him. I mean, I think he did what he could. You know, I know they need to get somebody else. We need to get somebody else. But
no. Bill Parcells said this years ago. One-time coach, Hall of Fame coach for the New York Giants. You are who you are.
Yeah. Oh yeah. True.
Who he is for the first 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
When that Dennis Green said that, Silas. When that Dennis Green said that, Coach Dennis Green.
Yeah.
Who?
No,
Dennis Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells says that your record says who you are.
Because Dennis Green did say that. He did say that about a team that they should have beaten, and they let him off the hook. He said, "We let them off the hook. We let them off the hook. They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook."
I'm not talking about Dennis Green.
Okay.
I'm talking about Bill Parcells.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Parcells says when it comes to football, you are who your record says you are. Davis Mills showed us 2 years, not 1, 2, who he was. Everybody thought he was going to make that big jump this year, and he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He was so bad that they had to get Kyle Allen off the bench. Kyle Allen, who twice at U of H and Texas A&M lost the starting position at quarterback and got in the NFL because he just looked the part, not because he could play the part. And Kyle Allen was so bad that they had to put Davis Mills back on the field. The prop, and we're going to talk, I want to talk about this 1 second. Nick Caserio right now is the Achilles heels of that organization because Nick Caserio has demonstrated that he does not know how to put team together unless he has help. That's going to be the key. He needs to have help from D'Amico and that new coaching staff on this upcoming draft because by himself, Nick Caserio does not have enough sense to make the right picks, man. Anybody
got him stirred up.
Anybody that would try to interview Josh McCown, a guy who had no college or professional football coaching level on his resume as a head coach, come on, man, that guy does not know what he's doing.
Well, I'm with you on that one. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
General manager. But see, he got off the hook with this pick of D'Amico as head coach. So that's giving him a little bit more, a few more years. And hopefully for the Texans say D'Amico does right, performs up to the level that they think he's going to perform. But Casario right now is the weak link. And going forward, he's going to be heavily scrutinized by the type of picks that he makes for Houston, Texans.
I just want to say this. I'm the only one believes that they should keep Davis Mills. Now, I would bring in a 4th round pick, a quarterback.
No.
To challenge him. I'm not just going to give him the job, but I would certainly keep him as my presumed number 1 until somebody beat him out. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
No.
Okay, let's quickly talk about, we talked about it a little bit. Who looks like they're going to be strong next year? I think Chicago going to be a lot better. I think Green Bay, if they keep with Rodgers, he's getting up there in age, just like Brady wasn't able to go anymore. These young black quarterbacks, or young athletic quarterbacks, I'll say, are the ones that's going to lead the future of the NFL. Give me a team to watch everybody for next year. Then we'll move to our next section.
Denver.
Silas says Denver. AJ?
Oh, well, Philly is a given, but I'm going to throw the Giants in there.
Jeff?
I'm going to go with the Redskins.
Okay, I'm going to go with Chicago. I'm going to go with Chicago. So we got our picks to look for next year. All right, we're going to start talking about the NBA that is, of course, on All-Star time hiatus. And we just had a lot of trades go on. I want to talk about the trades just a second and how they're going to affect the teams moving forward. But we got to first talk about the Rockets, because I know me and Jeff are deep into basketball, and it's hurtful to see them playing like this. Jeff, isn't it hurtful?
If someone had told me back in September, as we were about to go into training camp, that after 58 games, we would be sitting at 13-45, I would have laughed. There's no way I would have thought that we would be this bad this season. 13-45, have the worst record in the entire league. There is no way I would have anticipated that we would be this bad. However, I do understand what the caveat is. I understand you have that carrot out there. You have the 7'4" forward. This guy's a once-in-a-lifetime generational player. And if this is going to enhance your chances, your level of probability, and you're being able to get that first pick, then I can understand why they're not motivated to win just yet. So, anyway.
You know my argument on that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question, Jeff?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Would you being what you just said, because you made a point at the beginning of the season. Remember, you were very high on this young man that's going to be available in this year's coming draft, right?
Right.
Yeah. Do you think that this has been a I won't say order, but directive from the owner to head down this path?
Yes, I think so. Yes, you have to understand. Okay. He relies on information from people who he respects, and based on that information, and I've listened to a lot of NBA stars and what they're saying about this guy. I even sent a clip to you guys on here. I don't know if you guys watched the clip, but what the NBA stars are saying about him. This guy is exceptional. He's 7'4", and he has the skills of a Kevin Durant. But he's 7'4". So imagine Kevin Durant at 7'4". That's the kind of skill set this guy has. He is special. He's 18. He's special. The guy's special. And so if you can get Houston, if Houston can get this guy, then they can turn things around. But guess what? Well, no, I'm not going to talk about that. We're going to stay with Houston. But if they can get this guy, but also what I'm hearing, let me tell you what I've heard from a good friend of mine. If Houston wins the lottery and get this guy, James Harden has the right to elect out of his contract, and he will become a free agent this summer. And I'm hearing if Houston gets that first pick, that he may very well come back to Houston and finish his career in Houston. Houston have $60 million in cap space. so they can afford to bring Harden in. So you add this guy and James Harden and maybe one other key free agent, and this team is ready to win this coming season.
I can't hold it back no more. Are you crazy? Yeah. I got one word for you. Ralph Sampson. And not just that, but you can't put your future on somebody that you have not seen on the floor. You have not seen what they're going to do. He could get hurt. When you got talent on your team that can be winning, so you deal with what you got and do the best you can with what you got. Then you worry about what you might can get.
Call.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Please
All right.
let me finish.
Okay.
No. And if the owner is telling his team to y'all lose games because we want them to try to mortgage for the future, I agree with Silas. Sell that team. Get somebody to win today. No, the problem with the Rockets is the mentality. The problem with the Rockets is the mentality. They got talent to win. Look at a team like Oklahoma City. They got no big, they got a great one player, but then they got a competitive attitude. And they have an owner that says, hey, we're going to do the, if you don't want to be here, Al Horford came in there, he said, oh, okay, I don't really want to play for you. He said, okay, get out of here. All the players that don't want to be there, he get rid of them. And if you ain't playing full max, no. He says, I don't want you here because he wants people that's going to be there. Look at that team, Oklahoma City. They are overachieving, and they in the playoff hunt in the top 10 right now. And the Rockets got more talent than they do. The Rockets got more talent. So it's all about mentality, coaching, and the will to win. Brother AJ, I want to bring you in.
Okay, hold on. Before you bring AJ in.
Talk.
No, I just wanted to say quickly, and I'll let y'all have the floor. I told Silas before I got here that you guys are more adept of the NBA than I am. I almost feel intimidated to be talking about the NBA on here, though. But I just want to go quickly back to what you said about the Rockets. I really think they're building something. And I'm kind of shocked that they only won 13 games myself. But I just think it's going to take a little bit of time, and I do follow them, whenever I get a chance. I don't know all of the ins and outs and all that kind of stuff like that, but what I would like to talk about, this probably be another show. When it comes to the NBA, I listen to stories like, top stories, like the Kyrie Irving type deal, with him going to Dallas. These players who want their way, they get on all of these, get on these teams, and they want to have their way, and they're a cancer to the team. That's the type of stuff that I follow, the big stories like that. That's a different show.
But I got to get back to Jeff. We are going to talk about that though. Jeff, you got the floor.
All right, back to your point, Carl, which you was making mention of. You made mention of. You ain't gonna go through all that. You're gonna go through all that to hinge your hope on getting that player in the draft. My point was this here. That's why I wanted to talk right after that, because my point was directly related to your point. Carl, that's been going on for 37 years. That's how Olajuwon ended up with the Rockets. That's how Houston ended up with Ralph Sampson. That's how the New York Knicks ended up with Patrick Ewing. That's how the San Antonio Spurs ended up with David Robinson. I'll never forget, the Spurs still had Sean Elliott, they had David Robinson, not David Robinson, they had Sean Elliott. So that's how they ended up with Tim Duncan. They had Robinson, they had Sean Davis, they had all these guys, and they still ended up with the worst record in the league because they had some injuries during the season. And when they could have brought guys back, they decided not to because they wanted the first pick in the draft. The first pick in the draft ended up being Tim Duncan. That's how they got Tim Duncan, because they tanked the remaining 20 games of the season so they can have a chance at Tim Duncan, and that's how they got Tim Duncan, and they won 5 championships with Tim Duncan. That's how Orlando ended up with Shaquille O'Neal. That's how the Cleveland Cavaliers ended up with LeBron James. So what I'm saying to you, Carl, I understand how excited you got, and it sounded real good, and I like your enthusiasm, but it's been going on for over 30 years. Teams do it all the time. They've been doing. It's going to continue to be done.
What you're describing is a team where somebody got hurt and they lost a bunch of games because they didn't have the talent to compete. And let's say they went the first 60 games, they went 20 and 40 because David Robinson was out. And I'm a sports historian, so I do know about that. I do know. Now, they weren't going to be able to be competitive and win a championship that particular year, even if they had put him back in. So, yes, they did say, okay, we're going to let this season go and see if we can get a player. But that's different than starting the year out and not being competitive because you are inept and you are having a wrong mentality. No, you don't even know what you should compete for the first 60 games of the year to see what you can do. And if you're not doing that, you shouldn't be in the NBA. If you're not trying to win for the first 50 games, now what happens the last 30 games? Okay, we might tank that, but not the first 50 games.
It's still the same theory. You're still tanking games in an effort to increase your probability of winning the first pick in the draft.
You know
it's the same premise.
Win.
It's the same premise, Cole.
No,
same premise.
You got to give it your best shot to win. You don't tell your players.
When they give it their best shot to win the last 25 games of the season, they sat there and let the best players out so they can have the worst record. They didn't do that. I'm just saying this about a lot of teams.
I'm not even saying that. If I'm the coach, if I'm the owner, the players I got out there, we trying to win. The players I got out, I'm never gonna tell my players, no, y'all don't give effort. What kind of, no, man. If I'm a general manager, coach,
no one said that. No one said that. No one said that they told the players not to give effort.
Well, if you are indirectly putting them in a position where you're not trying to win,
exactly.
Oh, come on
you can
now.
do it as a coach, but you don't tell the players not to play hard.
Carl, that's how the Astros became who they are. They tanked, man, on purpose. They when Jim Crane bought that team, he got rid of Hunter Renfroe, Michael Bourne. These guys were all stars, man.
But they could have been bad for the team. They could have been bad in the locker room.
No, these guys were still good, still at the prime of their careers, Carl.
But they could have been causing the cancer. Just like
they
the Rockets got rid of Christian Wood because he was.
Hey, Carl, let's agree to disagree on this. Let's agree to disagree on this. Let's move on.
Let's agree to disagree. We don't have to. I cannot agree with that one. I'm sorry. I'll argue anybody up and down, but I'm gonna back up.
And they let what's his name, Bo Porter, be the scapegoat. He got cut for some jacked up reason. They didn't even allow him to even finish the season. That's why they feel sorry when Luna got fired after a cheating scandal.
I thought he was doing pretty good at the time.
Well, what he had nobody.
True.
They got rid of all the prime players, and then they kept all the good players on the farm system and didn't bring them up until after they got rid of Bo Porter. Yeah.
Okay.
So tanking been, like Jeff said, tanking, you may not like it, but tanking has been around for a long time in professional sports.
We're going to agree to disagree. You all have the majority of the votes in that, but I'm going to keep my individual opinion, and I'm going to keep it like, and you can't change it. But I'm going to go back to AJ, and I want to talk about the trades. You talked about Kyrie Irving. Now, I think that's going to come back to, Dallas is going to come back to regret that decision, in my opinion.
Oh, wow.
That I believe so, because if he doesn't get his way with the Dallas Mavericks, now the only thing that might be different is Jason Kidd, being a point guard himself, may know how to work with him, may know how to talk with him. But other than that, he's been a kind of a cancer wherever he's been.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't see why it's going to change, but we not on the inside. It might be something else going on. And have you all seen how Shaq he's bombarded Kevin Durant and said, hey, you know, you just chasing the ring. You're not really a a championship ball player,
Mhm.
you know, and calling him all kinds of names and stuff. And it's a lot. The NBA is a different kind of a model that, you know, like LeBron did. He tried to put together a super team. It worked for a while, but they were beat down at the last minute by a team that stuck together, San Antonio. So there's one thing to be said about a super team, but there's something to be said about a team that's built on chemistry that can last longer. And those are the teams, in my opinion, that can last longer, that are built on chemistry, that are built with trade, free agent by the draft, and just putting together a team, a unit with chemistry. And that's a better thing to last. Go ahead, AJ,
Okay.
then chime in after him, Jeff. AJ,
Okay.
go ahead.
All right, yeah, a couple of things there, but the NBA, I may be wrong about this, and of course, maybe you guys may have a different opinion, but the NBA seems to me to be the only major sports organization or group that where the players can pretty much dictate, you know, who the coach is going to be, who I want my coach to be, who I want to play with, and they
Right.
tend to go with it. So my question to you guys, Mark Cuban is a great businessman, not only in basketball. So what do you think that he's seen in Kyrie that he think that he could change?
I think that Mark may have shown the willingness to give Kyrie that maximum contract extension that he's looking for from the Nets. Kyrie, yeah, he's a cancer, but also Kyrie's about his money. If Kyrie could have got that extension with the Nets, you better believe he still would be with the Nets. But they didn't want to give him take a chance or give him that long extension with the maximum amount. And I pretty much thought that was the reason why he left. Not so much that he was just a cancer, but he left because he couldn't get that money. Kyrie's chasing that bag.
Yeah, he left people hanging also.
Oh yeah,
But
he
that's
didn't
a
care.
legitimate reason, Silas, yes.
He's chasing that bag now.
Say that money is the important thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Can I chime in now?
Go, Jeff.
All right. Kyrie Irving, it was a no-brainer for him to leave New Jersey. You have to understand, this goes way back. This goes way back. They really, they cut ties with him really when they showed their ass with him when it came down to the shot and how they didn't give him any support when he didn't want to take the shot. And I can understand why he didn't want to take the shot. It's now come out that a lot of things about that shot that were not above water, so to speak. And he had a right to not take that shot. He had a right to not have them jig that into his body. And the way they treated him. Then he posted a link about something that someone else did, and he posted a link about it. And then this cost him millions of dollars and how they treated him. And this went on day by day by day and how they was mistreating him. There was no way that Kyrie Irving was going to return to Brooklyn. No way. Even if they'd have given him the max contract, it wouldn't have mattered because he can get that max contract almost anywhere. There was no way he was going to return to Brooklyn. So it was just a matter of where was he going to go? Do you go to the Lakers and play with LeBron? Do you go to the Clippers and play with the Kyrie? Or do you go to Dallas? It was just a matter of where he's going to go. So he went to Dallas. That was a good move for him. It could be a good gamble for Dallas because if he is happy there and he and Mark Cuban can get on one page, then I think that he has a chance to, they got a chance to do something special with he and Luka Doncic. That's a good team. That's an outstanding team. They got two perennial all-stars. They got two players who are two of the top 10 players in the NBA right now. So it's just a matter of developing some cohesion and being able to get out on the floor and get that chemistry down and get ready for the playoffs. But I like what Dallas did. I
agree with AJ, man. I think they might wind up regretting that, man. Everywhere he's gone for a jacked up reason, man. He left Cleveland because he couldn't handle being in LeBron's shadow. He got to Boston. He got to Boston and couldn't stay.
Solid.
Now the Nets. So everywhere he's gone, he's caused problems, man. And I
Okay.
think that
If
right,
he does, fellas, all they gotta do is just turn around and trade him and they can get something for him. They can still trade him and get access for him. They took a risk. In business, you take a risk. Mark Cuban, that man is taking many risks. You have to take a risk. He took a risk. He wasn't gonna win with the team he had. That team he had
I
was
think
not
the
gonna win the
team he
championship.
had might could have done better than he ended up with. That's my
Obviously,
opinion.
he don't feel that way. Obviously, he doesn't feel
That's
that
true.
way, Cole.
That's true. That's true.
So I can understand why he made that move. He didn't feel like he had the team to win with. So now he think he has a chance to win it. So it makes sense. You have to take a risk as a businessman. It's all about risk.
What do you
okay,
believe
what
about
about
the Kevin,
KD?
the Kevin
What-
Durant trade? Any of the other trades that went down? Who hurt themselves? Who helped themselves? Jeff.
I think the Lakers. I like what the Lakers did. Now the question is, you got to get LeBron back on you got to get everybody healthy and back on the floor. But I like what the Lakers did, and I see the Lakers going to probably pick up a couple more players. You got guys that were traded that's been bought out by other teams, like the Rockets. I mean, everybody the Rockets traded for, they bought him out except for Kaminsky, and I think they're going to probably buy him out too here in the next couple of weeks. The Rockets right now, do you realize the Rockets right now have $81 million in dead money? Now, do you understand what I mean by dead money? Do y'all understand what dead money means?
Yes,
That
I
means
understand what dead money is.
they have committed $81 million to players that they're paying that's not even on the team right now. 81 million. And then meanwhile, they only have $54 million that they're paying to the players who are actually playing for the team. Now, you know, that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's why they're the worst run organization in the history of the NBA. Go ahead.
You got a point on that one. You got a point on that one. The whole John Wall, Russell Westbrook, all that fiasco, lost them a lot of money. So many different things that they did, not recognizing the value of the players that they had, overvaluing them and different things. So that's one of the reasons they're in that. And that's one of the reasons they may not have an opportunity to really go after a player who's going to require so much money. But we'll see. Let's do our projections for the top 8 teams. Let's do our projections.
Hey, Cole.
I'm going to write them down so when our next meeting comes, I'll have them.
Hey,
Yes,
Cole,
sir.
before you move on, we're going to talk about Stephen Silas. Should he return? You want
We
to go
got
and
to
finish that
talk
up?
about that, Jeff. We got to talk. Let's do that right now.
Okay. All right.
I say fire him right after the All-Star break. That's my opinion. Silas, what you think?
I can go with that. I can go with that only in the sense that it will send a message to the players about the expectations of the organization going forward. No, I can deal with that. Yeah, I can handle that.
You got an opinion on that, AJ?
Well, I just think that if they do that, I just think that'll be detrimental to his career, because I don't know whether or not anybody else would take a chance on him. You know, it's he is a household
That's life in
name,
the
but
big city, though.
huh?
That's life in the big city.
Oh, I know.
I
I definitely understand that. I definitely understand that, but I just think it's going to happen. I just don't. I didn't think it'd happen after after the mid-season point, but I thought it'd happen at the end of the season. So what do you think? A benefit not waiting until the end of the season just so they can get a jump
because
start.
you want to send a message now, and if you could get a momentum builder by the end of the season, then you got something to look forward to going into next year.
True.
Like what Phoenix did. Phoenix played in the bubble and they won all their games in the bubble. Then the next year, they were in the NBA championship.
True.
So you want to build a momentum. Jeff, what you say about that?
I think that I would go ahead and move him now. I think it's time to move on. I think that he could use a break. The guy has lost his father. What was that, about a month ago?
Yeah.
So I think right now, I say go ahead and cut the guy. Let him go do some homework. Let that guy go and deal with his life. It's obvious you're not going to keep him past the off season. So go ahead and cut him now. The sooner the better. I go ahead and let John Lucas be the interim coach for the rest of the season. Let's see what
Right.
John Lucas can do with this organization. Let's see what he can do with the team. And then this offseason, then I make my decision whether or not I want John Lucas to return. Do I go try to see if I can get Kevin Sampson from University of Houston, or go see if I can get Mark Jackson, who used to be the coach for the Golden State Warriors? But I would make that move in the next day or so. I'm
What
serious.
about Udoka?
Excuse me?
What about Udoka for the used to be with the Celtics?
Is he available? He's still under contract to the Celtics.
No,
Nope. They made
hired
that guy
a guy they got
the
now
permanent
full-time.
coach.
They did what?
They hired Mazzulli full time now.
But have
Yeah.
they released him? But hold on. Have they released him?
Um,
Because if he's still under contract, they can still have him on there as an assistant coach.
yeah, but I think if the Rockets wanted to talk to him, they wouldn't be opposed.
Well,
No.
how come? Well, okay, hold on. The Brooklyn Nets wanted to hire him, and they refused.
No, they
refused to
didn't
let them hire
refuse.
him.
They did not refuse. People
They did.
chimed in and said, "Do not hire him." It was just such a blowback. That's why Brooklyn stopped that.
Brooklyn stopped that because Boston was not going to let him out of his contract. He's still under contract.
I never heard that, Jeff. I never heard that. It was
Okay.
the blowback because of the accusations that he had.
That's not what I heard.
problem was.
Okay, that's not what I heard. Okay.
Yeah.
Where you get the projections? Because we still got baseball to talk about.
Yeah, okay. The projections, real quick. Let's do the top 4 teams because we don't need to do the top 8. My top 4 in the West, you got to go Denver, Memphis. I think Phoenix is going to move back up there in the top 4. And then I'm going to have to take Dallas. Dallas with Kyrie, they're gonna get a jump of momentum. Those are my top 4. In the East, Boston, Philly, Cleveland, and Milwaukee.
Okay, I'll go next. All right, my top 8 teams in the West are Denver, Memphis, the Clippers, Phoenix Suns, the Dallas Mavericks, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Sacramento Kings, and the Golden State Warriors. I have as the play-in, I have the Lakers versus Portland as the play-in, the 9 and 10 seed. I have Portland I have the Lakers beating Portland in the play-in. Okay. Anyway, and then in the East, I have the first team, I have Milwaukee, I have Boston, I have Philly, Cleveland, the Knicks. I have then Brooklyn, then Miami, then Toronto. Then my play-in, I have Atlanta and Washington as the play-in, the 9 and 10 seeds. And then in the conference finals, I have Denver versus Phoenix in the West. I have Milwaukee versus Boston in the East. And in the NBA finals, I have Milwaukee versus the Phoenix Suns, and I have Milwaukee winning 2 championships in the last 3 years, the Milwaukee Bucks.
Sounds good. Silas, Silas or AJ, you all want to chime in on any basketball?
Like I say, I'm not that abreast on it, but I mean, I got some teams that I like. Of course, I like Dallas and Phoenix, and something about I made some notes here that I still like about Boston. Like I say, I'm not as abreast on the NBA as you guys are, but I mean, I've followed it enough to think that they can make a run at things.
Anything,
Okay.
Silas?
No, haven't watched enough to make any type of projection, Carl.
Okay, well, I would like to turn it over to Silas to talk baseball. One thing, the Astros do have a black GM now. What's that going to do? I haven't kept up with the Rangers very much myself. I do know that they are down the road, and don't they play in Irving or Arlington? Where do the Rangers play?
Arlington, come on, man.
All right, now.
Arlington.
Okay. So tell us about it. I'm behind because you know, I still got in my mind the Astros on the division with the Reds, the Padres, the Giant. I know they're not, Silas, but that, you know, I used to go to the Astro games. And
we both did.
Yeah, I used to be selling cold beer, peanuts, and they watching them play the games. So all of this is different now. Go ahead with baseball, guys.
Well, the off season, basically, and AJ can attest to this, was about the other teams building to take down the Astros. That's what everybody was doing. You know, AJ's gonna talk about the Rangers. I looked at the Rangers today, man. I forgot that they got evolved it from Boston. I did not know that, man. And the other pitcher was the guy from LA. They got quite a starting lineup, pitching lineup for the Rangers. And Bruce Bochy. Now, didn't he win a World Series with the Padres, or he took them to World Series?
He took them to the World Series. So I think he actually won. He's won one before.
Okay. See, that's what I'm saying. Now, Stephen A. Smith on First Take, you know, he's a big Yankees fan, but he warned the Yankee faithful that the owner of the Mets was going to outbid the Yankees as far as getting the championship. And he's right, man. That guy went out and got Verlander. He got DeGrom. Did DeGrom left and came to Yard?
Yeah,
that's right.
DeGrom is in Texas now.
Yeah, he's with Texas. So everybody, and then the Padres, man. I forgot what the Padres did, man. They have what's the guy named Xander Bogart, the shortstop.
Yeah.
He's with them now, man. And they have that's a tough lineup, man. They had Machado and Juan Soto last year. So everybody is gunning for the Astros this year. Now, the only thing that hurt us is that, of course, we may feel the effect, and it's too early, but we may feel the effects of Verlander leaving. But evidently, the Astros feel like our young pitching staff was not going to suffer too much for him leaving and going to New York.
No.
This new general manager, Dana Brown. The reason why I like him is because he was vice president of scouting for the Atlanta Braves for the last 4 years. He was to help bring a couple more players onto that team to help the Braves win the National League East Division for the last 4 years. They were the division champs. And of course, year before last, they beat the Astros in the World Series. So what I like about him, that he seems to have abilities to find players in any sports, any area of professional sports. You know that you got to be able to draft the right players. And I think that that's what's going to help the Astros not only this year, but later on in the future. Because this last year, man, his problem was that I don't think he was too good about getting players or free agents to come to the Astros. With that said, I'm gonna let AJ talk about the Rangers for a little bit. They're on track, man. They realize they're gonna surprise people.
You know, I appreciate that. I always value what my man Silas said. He quiets me down a lot when it comes to the Astros, because he knows the inner workings and who done whom wrong and that type of stuff. And he makes me sit back and think, I didn't think about that. So just want to let you know, I'm not, I wouldn't be in a Houston sports group unless I did back your boys just a little bit. I got a little paraphernalia here. My daughter, she makes sure I keeps this type of stuff. She stays in Manville. And she loves the Astros, and I wouldn't be on a sports, sports group in Houston unless I showed them a little love also. But I think the Rangers. I've seen an article, and it was kind of a novelty type article, but this guy was serious. He made like the top 10 bold predictions of the 2023 season, and I like the bold prediction number 8 that the Rangers would win the West. I like that. That really sounded good, but I mean, I know the Astros still team to beat, but I want people to realize that it hasn't always been this way. Everybody's
No.
still gunning for them, and I actually think I'm not that big. Still not that big on the Angels, and I don't think the A's are going to do very much this year. I think it's going to be the top three, probably be Astros, and then the Mariners or Rangers, and in one of those orders. But I think this team, Rangers, could win. I think they can win 89 games this year. I really do. Last year they lost. Their one-run loss record was 5. I mean, I'll take that back. 15 and 35. Heck, you win half of those, you're in the playoff. But that's just one of those things. And of course, they got Jacob deGrom, and of course, you mentioned Nathan Eovaldi. I just think they're just building something here. And I know we're running out of time, though, and we'll can talk about this more as the season goes on. But I really think that they are coming along.
Don't sell them short, man, because I did not know that they had all those guys in y'all starting pitching staff, man.
I think they're. I
think they're gonna go over 90 this year.
Okay, well, I'm trying to be. I don't want to sound like it. I mean, I'm going to stick around 89 or 90. They could.
Aren't they in the same division with the Astros?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And thank the Lord they don't have to play each other 20 times again this year. It's only 12.
But see, Dusty Baker's building his legacy for the last years of his life, and he's going to go down as one of the greatest coaches that there has been.
Go with that.
And hey, I can't go against rooting for Dusty Baker. I mean, for the Astros. And now the organization has a black general manager. So they are, I'm sorry, AJ, I got to go Astros.
That's okay. I have no problem with that. I mean, Silas made me look at it like that also. And like I say, I wouldn't be in the Houston sports group. I mean, I do have some love for them, because you may say, well, I mean, people say, well, for you not to like the Astros, which, I got a little love for them. I know a lot about them. And, I don't, I follow them. I got
the Astros is one of the greatest histories. Jimmy Wynn, Cesar Cedeno, J.R. Richard, Jose Cruz.
I remember when Joe Morgan was playing, and then Kim Caminetti and all those guys, J.R. Richard as your name. I grew up listening to them.
Yes. And so the Astros got a great history, and now it's starting a winning tradition is starting behind the great Dusty Baker, and I'm all for that, and that's a great thing for Houston. With all the losing we got the Astros winning, so I just like to showboat that.
The key is, though, this new general manager, this what I keep trying to say this. You have to have the players. Good coaches is one thing, but you got to have players, man.
That's true.
And this guy that we just hired as general manager for the Houston Astros, he was key in helping the Atlanta Braves win another World Series championship against our Astros. So that means that we have a guy in position who knows how to seize talent and go after it. And also knows how to develop it.
Yep. And Atlanta's still going to be. I listened to MLB today, and they're still going to. So he left them in good hands too.
Oh yeah, he left them ready, man.
Yep. He's a former player too.
Okay. Now I didn't know that part.
I didn't. You got him either.
Player also. Yeah. Well, we right at
great. This is great.
But as it is, we do not have. We got a little bit more time. I want to throw a couple of more questions out there, sports related, not the main sports, baseball, basketball, football, but boxing. Will there be anybody coming up that is going to beat Tyson Fury? Question. Jeff, what you think?
I don't think so. I think Tyson Fury probably going to be retiring within the next year or so. I don't think so. I think he's going to get bored. He may fight maybe 2 more fights. And I think that he'll probably retire. So no, I don't think anyone's going to beat him, because I don't think he's going to stay around long enough for his skill set.
Well, that's why
to deteriorate to the point where he can be beaten.
Yeah, he's a big boy, 6'9", 280. What
you think,
Silas?
And got skills.
got skills.
Yeah.
What you think, Silas?
Man, look here, man. I don't follow boxing, man. I grew up in that 70s era when the golden age of boxing was coming for Foreman, Norton, Ali, Frazier, Ernest Shavers. And then, I got spoiled a little bit more, even when I was in college. We watching Hitman and Sugar and Marvelous Marvin. These guys are just not like them, man.
Yeah, but
Well, I'll tell you this though, that Tyson Fury, the Deontay Wilder 3 matchups, that was a classic though. Those 3 fights were a classic. And you got a couple of other guys out there, but nobody, I think, at this time can even challenge Tyson Fury. So he probably will retire, like Jeff said. Did you want to chime in, AJ?
no, I'm just gonna ditto what my man Silas said. We grew up in those areas, where boxing came on. I mean, you knew when the fight was going to be. That was the only thing going on. Now they have these big fights, pay-per-views, and you didn't even know it was on. But yeah, I'm just trying to say I'm pretty much with him on that. But I just want to say before we leave, I mean, just in case I can get this in I am thrilled to do this. I appreciate you guys inviting me to do this. And next time we get together, I want to put something on the schedule, on the outline. I want to talk about Eric Bieniemy and why, what you guys think about him being snubbed so much as getting the head coaching job. I mean,
Well,
that may be
I
all.
put over there. Our next broadcast, unless Mr. President says it's going to be sooner, is April 14th.
April
Okay.
14th.
All right.
Wait a minute, hold on. Why so long? How about we do this once a month?
Okay, well, the president just spoke, so we will have a date next month.
Okay. So we're doing March. Let's find a good day in March.
So we will
do is
contact
we
you,
look around
brother
the sports
AJ,
schedule.
and let you know when the date is. So yes, Jeff, we will talk about that offline, but it's been a great show. And as a track aficionado, I got to chime in. Our last world records or world championships were here in Eugene, Oregon, and the United States did a great job in the 4x1 and 4x4 with Cindy McLaughlin in the 4x4, breaking records in the 4x4, 4x1 in the ladies. Abby Steiner, a senior from Kentucky, did very good. And then in the men, in the 4x4, Michael Norman and Dwayne Dedman, I think is his name, they did very well in the 4x4, and they got close to setting that particular record. And I think it's going to continue. Even competition from all over the world is getting stronger in track and field and in basketball. Basketball, the international community is catching up with the United States. And it might be a time coming up when we may not win that gold medal, but not just as yet. But you got teams like Slovenia, from Brazil, from Argentina, from Spain, France, all over the world that have NBA, are full of NBA players. And they give the United States all its worth. This has been Sunny Side Sports Take with Jeff Walker, my brother AJ Whiteside, my brother Silas McMorris, Mr. President Jeff Walker. I'm your host, Baruti Carl Alexander. We thank everybody for joining us. Look forward to our next episode. We're going to come back to you with that specific time when we have we're going to share when that is. And we thank you. And we look forward to coming to you again with more sports talk. And join us on our site, Sunny Side Sports Talk with Jeff Walker on Facebook. Chime in there, win an award. I want to mention our award winners. We have award winners for the most postings, the most comments, most influential. Chime in, get to know what we're talking about. If you love sports, come on, Sunny Side Sports with Jeff Walker. Okay, everybody take care.
Sir.
All right, my brothers. Y'all take care.
Thank
young man.
y'all.
All right.
All right.
Hold on,
Next show
guys.
in March.
Hold
All right.
on.
Okay.